Hey everybody, today I want to talk about the Ruger American Rifle. This one's the compact in 223 Remington. What an amazing rifle it is. Not just for the money, which is a great value, but also just a great rifle overall. This one is so light, handy, and compact. I love it. So the Ruger American Rifle Compact, weight 6 pounds, caliber 223 Remington, rate of twist 1 in 8. Velocity, 2720 feet per second. Overall length, 36.7 inches. Country of origin, of course, the United States. Specifically made in Arizona, which is a wonderful state full of wonderful people. And it's just a very good rifle for the money and a great rifle overall. It's accurate, it's light, it's handy. So I just got it zeroed in and I did my first group at 50 yards. Got about a 3/4 of an inch group. And that was on a crazy windy day. There was about 18-mile-an-hour winds that day. So, that's 1.5 MOA for my very first group. That's not bad at all. That's after zeroing, of course. When I was zeroing it, obviously the shots were all over because I was adjusting the sights. But, yeah, so at 50 yards on a very windy day, I was getting 3/4 of an inch, which is fine. And it was a great rifle overall. The only issue out of the box, the trigger was too stiff. However, they make it very easy to adjust the trigger pull, luckily, which I'll show you here in a minute. So the stock, though, on the compact is a 12.5-inch length of pull. It has this wonderful soft rubber butt pad, which really absorbs the recoil. And, on this particular one, combined with the 223 Remington, makes for a very pleasurable day of shooting. And it's just a wonderful design overall. The only thing I wasn't too crazy about, the emblem on the bottom, that bright red Ruger emblem, is a little bit silly, but it's a great stock overall, though. You can tell that it's not made of the highest grade plastic, but it certainly gets the job done, and I don't have a problem with it in the slightest. The safety is also in a nice position by your thumb. Quick and easy, very positive too. It snaps pretty securely. And I think it's just very well thought out. The only thing that was a little silly is that the barrel is crazy thick for a 223. Look at how massive that is, especially by the chamber. And you can tell the reason they did this was because they also offer this in much larger calibers, and they just used the same barrel profile on all calibers. Presumably, it's just simpler and costs less to do it that way. But it's still surprisingly handy, even with this very thick barrel profile. I mean, weighing only 6 pounds plus the scope, it's all barrel. The weight is just so much in the barrel. But it's very quick and handy, like even standing, it points quick and it's not fatiguing to carry. I took the action out of the stock and adjusted the trigger, though. If you look to the right of the trigger housing, there's this little screw. That's the trigger adjustment screw. And what you do is you take an Allen key or an Allen wrench and you turn that little screw to the left. And the further left you go, the lighter the trigger gets until you get the screw to a point where it completely removes any tension that it was adding. And that gets you down supposedly to a 3.5-pound trigger. Mine felt more like it was 4 something, but still pretty good. They say that even if you adjust it all the way to the left, that you should leave it in, but I actually took mine out because I looked and I found nothing that it was interacting with. So I just took the little set screw out, and my trigger has been great ever since. I put about 20 rounds through since then with no problems. You can see the way that the receiver locks into the stock. It's got these V-shaped like bedding block lugs, and it's very unique. It doesn't have your stereotypical like locking blocks that a lot of stocks have, or recoil lugs or whatever they call them. This one, they're kind of integrated into the screw area, and I think it's a pretty good design. It seems to hold the receiver, ever so slightly above the stock to help increase accuracy by reducing the stock's influence on the barrel and receiver. And it seems very strong. I have a feeling that it's going to last a very long time. Granted, I've only put around 30 rounds through mine, but given the way it looks with this, really strong metal locking system, with 2 of these locking blocks, 1 for each screw, I think it's going to last a very long time. Now, it's been a long time since I've mounted a scope. I haven't used the bulk action in a very long time, but I've got this Weaver 6x38 scope. I accidentally mounted it 90 degrees to the left, so I'm going to go ahead and loosen the rings and then adjust it down to the right. You can see the windage knob is on the wrong side, but that's okay. It still worked fine. I was still able to zero it and everything. And it's a very good scope overall. The optics on this one are very clear and for the money. It was only about 150 bucks. It's great. I've got these low profile rings, and Ruger has pre-mounted these little Weaver mounts, which are actually aluminum, but they seem to work fine. I don't mind aluminum mounts too much. I don't like aluminum rings though. They're not my cup of tea. So I've got steel rings on an aluminum mount, and it seems rock solid. The magazine is pretty good, but it takes some getting used to. It's a rotary magazine, which is unlike most other designs. And you also load it from the top, even though it doesn't look like you would. That's why they even write on there, hey, you know, top load this. You have to kind of load it halfway up and then shove it back. It's a strange design, but it works fine once you get used to it. The only issue I had was that out of the box, the first round on a full mag would nosedive and hit this little like wall and not feed. Now, it is an easy fix. All you really need is a round file, like a small round shape, like a moon-shaped file, and you can fix it just fine. But out of the box, the first round would not feed. These are hollow points, but I mean, look at the hollow point. It's very, very thin, so there's no reason it shouldn't work. So you see that little wall on the left. On the right, I've actually filed down the wall. So as you can see, we push up on the left, and it just jams right up. But on the right, where I filed it, feeds perfect. So once I filed down that little wall, it's been running 100% ever since, and I have had 0 problems. Overall, my impressions were really, really good. Out of the box, it did need a little bit of tweaking. You know, you gotta lighten that trigger. I think they made it heavy on purpose, probably for legal reasons. But once you lighten the trigger, it really shines. It's a plenty accurate gun. It's light, it's handy. The 1-to-8 twist I really enjoy, lets you shoot the heavier bullets. And overall, I strongly recommend it.